Happening right now, more than 2,000 people in the Duke City are waking up without power.
It's all thanks to some very windy weather that blew through Albuquerque last night, even knocked down some big trees, damaged some homes. Take a look. This is a live picture from P&M at where the outages are right now. As you can see, they're really all over the Duke City, but most of them are up there in the Heights. I want to show you exactly what's going on right here. This is a live picture on Tramway between Comanche and Montgomery. As you can see, it is shut down. This is where P&M tells us winds snapped or damaged 11 high-voltage transmission poles last night. Again, this area is closed this morning. P&M, I just talked with them a couple hours ago, has no estimate on when this will open up. You want to use Juan to Bow to avoid this area. Now, P&M has been working all night to go ahead and get this power back on. It's already restored the electricity to about 8,000 homes and businesses and is working on the other 2,000 right now. Meteorologist Kristen Van Dyke tells us that wind gusts up to 50 miles an hour blew through town about 7 last night. And one man we talked with, well, he went outside and couldn't believe what he saw.
And I walked out here to the edge and realized, well, I've got a tree that I didn't start out with today. Branches are in the ground. My telephone line is hanging down.
That is a problem. Winds knocked out power to the MDC downtown as well. Thankfully, it didn't cause any major problems there. Again, P&M says all the power should be back on. Doesn't know when, but is saying sometime today. If you were out driving this morning, a heads up, some intersections where the power's out now have stop signs, so please be careful. All right, 6:02. Now we're going to talk about the wildfires that keep popping up nowadays all over New Mexico.
Let's start out west with the Silver Fire in the Gila. It has now burned more than 2,200 acres. None of it is contained right now, and firefighters say it is probably going to keep growing. Plus, dozens of people who live in Kingston are still evacuated for the second day in a row. The fire started last Friday about 50 miles northeast of Silver City. Highway 152 is still closed through the Black Range from San Lorenzo to Hillsboro. And up north, there is a new fire now burning in the Pecos, and it too is growing quickly. The Jaroso fire has burned about 1,300 acres in a remote area of the Santa Fe National Forest. Lightning started this fire yesterday afternoon. Now, firefighters are mostly attacking it from the air. A few on the ground have had to leave the area because it was so unsafe.
Well, good news now for the state's largest wildfire, the Thompson Ridge fire burning in the Jemez Mountains. People who live in Thompson Ridge, Rancho de la Cueva, and Elk Valley are now being allowed back home. The fire's burned 21,000 acres and is now 50% contained. And the Tres Lagunas fire is getting closer to being completely contained this morning. It's burned a little more than 10,000 acres near Pecos and is 70% contained. Firefighters hope to have it all under control a little bit later this week. Folks who live north of Windy Bridge are still being forced out of their homes. We were told crews have been able to get in there and restore power and phone service.
Let's turn our attention to meteorologist Kristen Van Dyke here to talk about this wildfire threat, I guess, that we're still in.
Yeah, it's still going to be sticking around for us today. In fact, fire danger just going up for us. And it's going to be a tougher day for the firefighters, too. We've lost some of the humidity that was helping the fires over the weekend. And then even yesterday, we hung on to a little bit of moisture for the first half of the day, but it has dropped dramatically, anywhere from 15 to 30% up in the mountains this morning. This is the lowest it's going to be all day and quite a bit lower than where we started yesterday. And so we could see this drop to the teens and single digits in the mountains this afternoon, and even over in the Gila too. We're going to see bone dry conditions there. At least we won't see the storms developing, bringing in the gusty winds. That was a problem yesterday with the lightning starting new fires. We won't see that today, but the winds are going to pick up on their own today, and then you're going to have the heat too. Wind speeds right now pretty light out there, but up in the northern mountains, northeast New Mexico, we could see 20 to 30 mile an hour winds sustained at times, and then gusty between 35 and 40. That's where we have red flag warnings in effect, and even down the Gila, winds there 15 to 25, gusting to 30 and 35 miles an hour. All this coming from mainly the west. So very dry, very hot and windy. It's going to be a tough day today for the firefighters.
All right, Kristen, thank you for that. For information on all closures, head to KRQE.com and make sure you keep it here on KRQE for the very latest on the fire and any fire restrictions. You can get the details along with the very latest anytime online.
Well, $67 million is now on its way to New Mexico and 14 other states to help us all recover from last year's devastating fires and storms. Congress has been arguing about this money for months and has finally agreed on it. Here in New Mexico, the money will go to fix homes and buildings, help reseed forests so they don't get mudslides during monsoon season, and prevent rivers from flooding.
An Albuquerque City Councilor is now waiting to see if his plan to temporarily suspend the Police Oversight Commission will be voted on by the full council. The Police Oversight Commission was created by the City Council back in 1998 to investigate complaints about Albuquerque police. But Councilor Brad Winter says he has gotten complaints that the POC is ignoring some of the very people it was established to listen to.
The system, when it was first put into place, Police Oversight Commission, was basically where civilians could come when they had issues with the police department. And what we're finding through the years, and especially lately, it's not doing what it was meant to do.
A committee last night passed Winters' plan to suspend the commission, but again, this is still not a done deal.
The man accused of shooting and killing an 8-year-old girl in Albuquerque is finally behind bars this morning and should be in court a little bit later today. David Candelaria Sr. was released from the hospital yesterday and booked into the MDC late last night on murder and other charges. Police say back on May 31st, he shot at a car near the Alamosa Community Center and killed little Sonny Reza. Candelaria needs $1 million cash if he wants to get out of jail. Well, there is no more debate this morning. Investigators in New Mexico can get search warrants from judges on the phone. The state Supreme Court ruled that yesterday, saying a judge does not need to see a written statement to issue the warrant. The ruling comes from a case in 2008 when investigators searched this couple's home in Doña Ana County and found 100 cats. The couple wanted the evidence thrown out, saying search warrants by telephone were illegal.